I stand before you today not as one man alone, but as one voice, harmonizing with yours to say, we will not accept a king. Not today, not ever.
An estimated 8,000 people took part in the so-called No Kings protest downtown. Organizers say this demonstration and others like it in cities across the U.S. were held to reject the Trump administration, authoritarianism, the militarization of the nation, and what they call billionaire first politics. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for News 3 Live at 11. I'm Steve Wolford. Along with the protesters, Metro has deployed hundreds of officers for crowd control and to protect property. Video from one of our photojournalists shows some of the demonstrators being detained by police. Metro is telling us tonight there were 15 arrests, including 4 juveniles. There was 1 felony arrest for assault with a deadly weapon and 1 arrest for possession of a dangerous weapon. Metro is getting some help from a couple of other police departments tonight. Officers from the Henderson and Clark County School Police Departments were also deployed in downtown Las Vegas for additional security. We have live team coverage tonight with the latest on the protest. Tiffany Lane and Will Silverstein have been following some groups of demonstrators since the main protest ended a few hours ago. But we'll begin with News 3's Evan Shriber, live in downtown Las Vegas with an update on where everything stands right now. Evan.
Yeah, and where that protest really started today here, Steve, outside the federal courthouse. I'm live here in downtown Las Vegas to show what is left over. We were up on the air at 10 o'clock tonight, basically showing the roadblock that is in place. Las Vegas Boulevard is back open right now in both directions as this crowd has cleared, this crowd has dispersed. But let's show you what was left over, because there were about 100 people who had gone to the Fremont Street Experience, came back around, came back here to downtown, and came back to the federal courthouse steps to chant and speak out and rally once again during this No Kings protest here in downtown Las Vegas. As we were there to capture it all, Metro Police were standing by to make sure things did not get unruly. This group stayed peaceful. This group stayed in front of the federal courthouse steps before they dispersed and moved on. It is something we have watched all day since this major protest first began around 5 o'clock tonight. 5 o'clock tonight is when this No Kings protest was officially called for, and it lasted until officially 7 o'clock. That's when the main organizers took off from this area, and it was still a large group left over that had made its way not only to north to the Fremont Street Experience, south towards the Strat, and then coming back here to what you just saw on your screen with the footage here of that group of about 100 that were still left over from the estimated 8,000 that had come out to protest the Trump administration today for this No Kings protest right here in downtown Las Vegas. As we've been keeping you updated all day long here on News 3 and News3LV.com, as we are keeping you posted to the No Kings protest here in downtown Las Vegas. I'm Evan Shriber live. Steve, back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Evan. And one of those splinter groups did move to Fremont Street, as Evan said. And following that group was News 3's Will Silverstein. He's joining us now live to continue our team coverage with more on what's left of that group tonight. Will.
Steve, just about a big fat zero is left of that group right now. That said, there you have a couple people that are straggling through, sticking around a bit. But as you can see, the biggest change between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. is the fact that you don't see any Metro police officers in this intersection. Before, Metro Police, Henderson Police, Clark County School District Police, all crowding this intersection. And now, nobody's there. And on top of nobody being there, of course, the scenes today looking entirely different because our viewers may be able to recognize, too, the fact that this was also the scene of where we saw Wednesday night's protest, where we saw tear gas. Our crew, Jim Snyder, getting tear gassed at that point. One of our other photographers did as well, and actually the photographer behind the lens here in that area, too. Much different scenes. It looks like a typical Fremont District Saturday night out this way as the protesters have cleared out. The big group, Steve, that came through, they walked through that entrance right over there, right in front of the famous Heart Attack Grill, and then they went a little bit further down Fremont towards the next street over, and then they made a turn towards the Stratosphere, and they moved quickly. They had a number of protesters yelling to stop and pause and wanted to take over this particular intersection, but instead they went back and joined that larger crew that we saw closer to those hotels in the Las Vegas Strip. So Steve, a much different sight than what we just saw just 1 hour ago over here on the Fremont District. Reporting out this way, Will Silverstein, News 3.
Right, we are all thankful for that, Will. Thank you for that report. Okay, let's switch things over now to News 3's Tiffany Lane. She was following another one of those groups. Tiffany, you said originally the group you were with had planned to go all the way down to the Trump Tower. What happened to them?
Yeah, so actually originally they said, hey, everyone go to the Strat, but once we got to the Strat, they actually kept going. This is not something I think anyone prepared themselves for. It is a long walk from downtown where this all started. So yeah, the group of about 100 people, I want to say very peaceful, still had their signs, walked past us, said they were going to Trump International. And we saw some, I think, just couldn't make it all the way, but then a large group did continue. We're not sure if they made it all the way there, maybe they did, but we did see them about 20 minutes ago pass by us again on the opposite side of the street. Now what's different here as opposed to what we saw earlier in front of the federal building that had speakers, a lot of people were locals, but here when you're on this strip, you're getting the attention of a very different crowd. We have a lot of tourists here who were even asking us, hey, what are these protesters doing? What are they voicing their concerns about? So this is their time to really get that message across about what Nevada represents and what they want in our community, at least as far as these protesters go. So they were able to get to a different audience through this walk through here, but they're probably not back downtown yet, just given the time that it took to get here to begin with. So we'll monitor that. But again, a very peaceful group here, about 100 people who went to what we were told was Trump International. We're not certain if that's how far they made it, but it is very possible.
Well, that's definitely quite the hike, Tiffany. So thank you for that live report. Thanks also to Will Silverstein and Evan Shriber for an entire evening of live updates and our team coverage. So Tiffany, thank you. Have a good night. In Los Angeles, police used flashbangs, tear gas, and pepper balls to break up that city's No Kings protest when the demonstrators started to get aggressive. This is how it looked as the LAPD started to push the crowd away from City Hall and the Federal Building. Police declared an unlawful protest and issued the dispersal order around 4 p.m. after some people started throwing rocks and bottles at the officers. 3 people were arrested. Downtown LA remains under a curfew. Thousands of people also showed up for anti-Trump protests in Carson City and Reno. One No Kings rally was held outside the office of Congressman Mark Amodei in Reno. The other was outside the state capitol building. Organizers say it was the largest protest to date in northern Nevada.